Hi everyone, thanks so much for joining me. My name is Helen and this is the Shrimpy McGee channel, and I'm here to talk about thick, really thick hair today. Thought I would take it outside in a park because I just want to get out of the house, and once in a while I do this sort of vlog style videos because they're lots of fun and it's a beautiful summer so far. So here we are, really hot day, thick hair, good day to talk about it. If you have thick hair, you're really going to suffer on a day like today because it is so hot and sweaty, and when you have thick hair, especially if your hair is dark, there's no escaping the heat. Your head just feels like it's on fire. That's just one of many reasons why I think actually thick hair is not all that it's cut out to be. People think that that is like the best type of hair to have, and I've had thick hair and now I have much thinner hair, and I'm not going to get into all of that. I mean, if you want to follow the reason why my hair is much thinner, definitely subscribe to my channel and have a look at some of my older videos, and that'll give you a really good idea how my hair got to be this length and this thinness. I used to have such thick hair and it was harder. Much harder than it is now, and actually it was kind of terrible in some ways, which I'm going to get into starting now. One of the reasons it's actually terrible to have a lot of hair, and people don't often talk about it, although sometimes they do, is that it weighs a ton. It is so heavy. It just, if you wear a ponytail, your head will be absolutely throbbing by the end of the day, and you can almost forget a high ponytail. It just feels like it's tearing your scalp out, so it weighs an absolute ton. That's my number one reason why it's actually terrible to have really thick hair. My second reason for thinking that it's actually not as great as it might seem like it's cut out to be to have really long hair is that it takes absolutely forever to dry. You can forget about washing your hair and going to bed. That just doesn't happen when you have really thick hair because you're looking at 1, 2, 3+ hours for it to dry. My hair used to take about 4 hours to air dry, and so even with a hair dryer, that would be a solid 35 to 40 minutes with the hair dryer, not even for a style, just to get the liquid, to get the water out of it. So that was really intense. I could only ever do it first thing in the morning before I went somewhere, or else I would just be stuck with like damp hair for the whole day, and that wasn't fun. It was not fun. Another reason that it's really difficult to have really thick hair is that aside from being unmanageable, it's actually really quite hard to get a good haircut when you have really thick hair. Take it from me, I would know, if you want to get a bob or a lob, usually if you don't end up at the right hairdresser, you end up with basically Dora the Explorer hair, where your hair is like in a big triangle shape, basically, where it's completely puffed out here and here on the sides, and it's not a good look. My best tip for you, if you do have really thick hair and you don't know how to manage it, is to go to a hairdresser that actually specializes in curly hair. That's what I did for years, because when you have a hairdresser that specializes in curly hair, they often know how to make you not look like you have a triangle-shaped hairstyle, and so often that means they know strategically where to cut out some of the hair, be it through different methods that they use. And if they do know how to thin properly, not every hairdresser does, they're going to do it in a way that's still going to look great. I used to go to even though I didn't really have curly hair, and I still don't really have curly hair, I have a slight wave in my hair. My favorite hairdresser at the time was someone who specialized in curly hair for exactly that reason, because she knew how to thin it out so it would look really good. So yeah, that would be my number one tip. If you do have really thick hair, get the right hairdresser, and beware of certain haircut shapes like lobs and bobs. They may not work for you if your hair is just too thick. You could have one, but you'll be stuck trying to use a flat iron on it almost every single day. So you gotta decide whether you're up for that or not. Another thing that's really tough about having hair that's just too thick is that all the curling irons you'll see other people use are just really not going to work for you. I mean, they do work in that they will curl your hair, but they will take absolutely forever to use. It used to take me probably about an hour to curl if I wanted to curl on my hair. And anytime they'd tell you, like, if you'd watch a hair tutorial and they would tell you to just curl it in small sections, I would be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be here for an hour. It would take about an hour for me to curl my hair with a curling iron. I just couldn't use it. Hot rollers were a little bit faster. A flat iron's a little bit faster, but something about curling those individual curls would just take absolutely forever, and I never did it. So therefore, all those sort of curling iron hair looks were usually kind of off limits to me, because who's got that kind of time? I do not have an hour to curl my hair. That's for sure. Check out this street art of Bob Ross. How great is this? I hope you guys have been enjoying some pictures of the street art that I've been putting in here. They decided to do a revitalization thing in the laneway near my home, which has looked really amazing. I love the street art. I love the brightness. I think it looks so vibrant and cool. So I hope you've been enjoying that. This is in the city of Toronto. I live in the Midtown West area. So one of the other things I absolutely hated about having really, really thick hair is that, and I'm going to get to a reason why it is great to have really thick hair in a minute, but just hear me out, my last point. Trends were never created for women with really, really thick hair. They're really just not. You might think that they are, or that the ideal hair is really thick hair, but actually it isn't. Most women do not have extremely, extremely thick hair. And when I mean extremely thick hair, I mean you can have hair that looks thick because it's kind of wavy, and you can have hair that's actually thick. I had hair that was actually thick. My ponytail was that, like I couldn't barely wrap my 2 fingers around it. That's how thick it was. And that is when I had bangs as well. So it would have been even thicker if my bangs were as long as the rest of my ponytail. Suffice it to say, I had really long hair and really thick hair. But trends are not created around that kind of hair. I don't know if you know that or not, but that's something I've definitely discovered. Any kind of hot haircut look that you see people wearing, women wearing, tend to be sort of around a medium thickness hair, sometimes even a thinner hair, and they've just built it up with some extensions. A lot of those like blunt lobs, pixie cuts, you know, even some of the curl styles really are ideally for someone with just medium or even a less amount of hair. They're really not created for ultra thick hair. And so it can be unattainable. Some of the looks you think you should be able to get because you have like this ideal huge thick hair actually are not ideal at all. So yeah, that's another reason why it's actually not that great to have thick hair. Let's move on though to an absolutely great reason to have thick hair, which is that it looks glossy and healthy, and let's face it, it just looks delicious, especially if your hair is a really pretty color. You can have some beautiful thick braids and you'll still have extra room for the hair to be like hanging down. So yeah, in that regard, it is amazing and it looks good. And theoretically, everyone wants really super duper thick hair. That's why the whole multi-million-dollar extension industry is around, not to mention big thick wigs and all kinds of stuff like that. You know, it is definitely, in theory, the ideal, but it's actually much harder than people think. I've had both types of hair. I've had thin hair, I've had now more medium density hair, and I've had the really, really thick hair. And the easiest hair to manage actually is when your hair is kind of somewhere in the middle. The really thick hair actually, in some ways, wouldn't want to go back to it. Even though, you know, I'm often longing for that really thick, full look of hair that I used to have. It was so much work. Even having to go to the specific hairdresser, like you couldn't go to just any hairdresser because you'd almost be guaranteed not to get a great look. But now I can go to pretty much any hairdresser and they can do a pretty good job trimming my hair. It never used to be that way. So yeah, thick hair, not all that what it's cut out to be. Definitely sounds like it's absolutely the ideal, but grass is always greener on the other side, and so this is no exception. So if your hair is somewhere in the middle or even on the thin side, there's some things to be grateful for. Like for instance, not having to wash it only in the morning and being able to get less expensive and more frequent haircuts from a variety of people rather than having to go to a curly hair specialist. And just having hairstyles that are kind of created for you. And, you know, even just getting your hair to stay in a style sometimes when you have really thick, heavy hair is such a challenge. So there we have it. I just say though, embrace whatever kind of hair you have. There are solutions and great looks for absolutely everybody out there. But I just wanted to talk about some of the fun things that I was remembering, or the not so fun things I was remembering about having really thick hair. I don't miss it. I really don't. Okay, everyone, thanks so much for listening. Hope you're all having a great day. Thanks so much for joining me here. Please subscribe. And we'll see you soon. Bye.